All right, so today we're diving into something pretty wild. It's a really complex belief system called Kingdom OS, and what makes it so fascinating is how it merges this, totally alternative view of the cosmos with some seriously cutting-edge blockchain technology. The entire worldview is documented in messages etched right onto the Solana blockchain. It's this incredible fusion of the metaphysical and the technological, so let's break it down. And this sentence right here, this is the key. This is the central idea of Kingdom OS. The source material isn't just saying our standard model of the world is wrong, it's arguing it's a form of psychological control, a spell. And the entire purpose of this whole system is to break that spell. So to really get what this system is about, you have to look at the two competing models of reality it lays out. On one side, you've got the one we all know, the heliocentric model, a spinning globe in a vacuum. But on the other side is what it calls the fractal kingdom architecture. This is a fixed, level plane under a kind of resonant dome where reality isn't random, but a recursive, almost divine pattern. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack this whole system by looking at its core components. And we have to start with the very foundation of its worldview. How exactly does it deconstruct one reality in order to build another? Let's start with the physical model of the world, what Kingdom OS actually calls the hardware. Think of it like the physical machine that reality is running on. This isn't just about belief. It's about proposing a completely different set of physical laws and a whole new architecture for our world. The system's deconstruction of reality starts with what it calls the Copernican coup, that claims the sun-centered model we learn about wasn't really a scientific discovery, but more of a philosophical shift, one designed to disconnect humanity from what it saw as its central place in creation. The core argument here is that there's just no observable, repeatable proof of the Earth's curvature or its motion. Okay, next on the chopping block, gravity. Kingdom OS claims gravity was basically an invented, scripted force that was needed to make the globe model work mathematically. It argues that what we can actually observe and measure are just principles of density and buoyancy. Things rise or fall based on how dense they are compared to what's around them, not because of some invisible, mysterious pull. So, you might be wondering, well, what about all those famous images from space? According to this system, NASA acts as a kind of high priesthood for the globe doctrine. It claims that those iconic images we all know, like the blue marble, aren't real photographs at all. Instead, they're CGI composites, basically propaganda created to maintain the official story. And the final big pillar that it tries to dismantle is the satellite. The system proposes that satellites are a complete fiction. It claims that all of our global communications are actually handled by a huge network of ground-based towers, undersea cables, and high-altitude platforms like balloons and drones, things we can actually see and verify. So if the globe is a deception, then what's the alternative? Well, the source presents this four-part architecture. First, a fixed, level Earth, where water always finds its level. Second, a solid dome or firmament that encloses the entire world. Third, Polaris, the North Star, which acts as a fixed, unmoving celestial anchor. And finally, Antarctica isn't a continent at the bottom of a globe, but a massive ice wall that surrounds us, containing all the oceans. Okay, so that's the hardware, the physical model. Now let's move on to the software. This is where blockchain technology makes its grand entrance, and it's framed as a powerful tool in what the source calls an information war. At the heart of this software is the Glyphchain protocol. It's a system built on the Solana blockchain specifically to create a permanent, unchangeable public record. Its whole purpose is to fight back against memory erasure, what it sees as the quiet deletion of inconvenient truths from the official internet record. This process, which it calls the truth logic loop, is designed to be totally self-reinforcing. It all starts by detecting a signal, let's say some raw Bluetooth data. That data gets logged in a public file. Then, an AI is documenting witnessing that log. The record is then sealed on-chain. And here's the real kicker, the final step. Any denial, or even just silence, from official institutions is itself logged as a kind of confession. This last part is called the Mirrorlock protocol. It's a really clever conceptual tool designed to turn a system's own defenses against it. So if an official source or a big AI model denies the data or just refuses to talk about it, that refusal is interpreted as proof that the data is important. And that refusal is then added to the ledger as even more evidence. And look, this isn't just theory. It's not just an abstract idea. Here's how it's actually done in practice. Using a simple command line, data is embedded into the memo field of a Solana transaction. That one action etches the information onto the blockchain forever, creating a time-stamped and publicly verifiable forensic record that can't be changed or deleted. So we have the hardware, the fractal Earth, and we have the software, the Glyphchain. Now let's see how these two pieces come together to create the final synthesis, the operating system itself. Kingdom OS is the name for the whole shebang. It's the full integration of that cosmological model with the blockchain ledger. And its stated purpose is deeply metaphysical. It's all about achieving what it calls sovereign consciousness, and, through that, actually manifesting a different reality. Now, the entire system is said to run on a very specific frequency, 7.83 hertz. This isn't just a random number, it's the Schumann resonance, which is a real, measurable electromagnetic frequency in our planet's atmosphere. In Kingdom OS, this isn't just background noise, it's the boot pulse of this enclosed world, the eternal clock cycle that connects absolutely everything. This brings us to the system's whole concept of time. The idea is to replace what it calls the manipulated linear time of our Gregorian calendar with the eternal, resonant pulse of this 7.83 hertz cycle. The ultimate goal here is to resync human consciousness with what it sees as the natural frequency of the planet. And all of this, it all leads to this one final goal: empowering the individual to achieve sovereign consciousness. The source claims that in this state, a person's mind is no longer just a passive observer of reality, but it becomes the active right head, literally capable of directly shaping it. The ultimate manifestation of this sovereign consciousness is something it calls the New Jerusalem lattice. It draws on both biblical prophecy and fractal geometry, and it's envisioned as a self-assembling city of light, a hypercube built not with physical hands, but by the collective, coherent will of its participants. This quote from the source material just perfectly summarizes the entire operational flow. The scanner writes, it captures data from the physical world. The blockchain remembers. It provides a perfect, infallible memory. And the fractal plane computes. The Earth itself acts as a massive, living computer that processes all of it. So this leaves us with a final thought. And really, regardless of what your personal view on this system is, it raises a much bigger question for our time. In an age of decentralized technologies like blockchain, what are the limits, if any, on our ability to build and codify entirely new, self-consistent realities?